Well, hello everybody out there in internet land. This is Chris from HHNlegacy.com with another exciting episode of Topher's Log. And kind of what we all thought, I think, at this point, because we are so close to the event, we're going to start getting these rapid fire announcements. Finally, things might finally be back on track in terms of the announcements. So, of course, we had last week, we had Ghostbusters announced, and this week we have the return of last year's fan favorite Killer Klowns from Outer Space coming back as a house. Now, if you saw my talking head from last year when the Killer Klowns from Outer Space was announced as a scare zone, you might know that I am not the biggest fan of this property in general. I just, this one doesn't quite grab me the way that it grabs some people. I first saw it when I way back in high school, many moons ago. I was kind of forced to watch it by a bunch of my friends. Wasn't truly impressed. I mean, it's schlocky 80s horror stuff, and it has become a huge cult classic. People really love this film, especially the people behind the scenes at Halloween Horror Nights. They love, this movie. So it's, no surprise that, they tried to bring it to the event last year and they brought it as a scare zone. I maintain that I think that this should have been a house first. Even though the scare zone was very popular last year, I think that this would have been better suited as a house in the first place. Even though I am not the biggest fan of this property, I do think that there is a lot of potential things that they could do inside of a house that I just don't think the scare zone was able to do justice to last year. Of course, they had some really cool props. You had the cotton candy cocoons I thought was cool. You had the ice cream truck. You had of course the clowns and the one guy with the little balloon dog that was walking around, but just not enough, in my opinion, to really do this property justice. And like I said, there are a bunch of things in this movie that I would really like to see them do as a house. And I know that based on the description on the blog, we're kind of getting. We're gonna see what they could do with the Clownzilla. I don't know how they're gonna pull this off. If this is going where I think it's gonna go, their space is kind of limited. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do some of these bigger elements. More bigger? Is that a term? These bigger elements, especially with the Clownzilla thing. They mentioned that we were going to, of course, go into the circus tent spaceship. That should come as no surprise because if you've followed the sort of construction things that are going on out there in Hollywood, we saw that the circus tent was in fact there. They kind of put a blue tarp over it the last couple weeks, but the secret was out, as it were. It didn't really matter at that point. But yeah, so we kind of knew that already. I like I said, there are things that I want to see here. There are scenes, like I said, not the biggest fan of the film, but one of my more favorite aspects of this movie is the sort of dark humor that it has. That is really what gravitates me to the film at all, is sort of the dark humor. And I love, one of my favorite scenes in the film is the jailhouse scene, where he's got the police officer as the ventriloquist. I think that's actually pretty funny. The pies I think is really funny. I'm curious to see if they actually incorporate that. I don't think that we're going to be solely inside the spaceship because it does mention the little baby clowns, the things that start off as the popcorn and then turn into the monsters. I would assume that we go into the bathroom where the lady's taking a shower, and then the popcorn in the hamper sort of grow up and turn into these little hideous monsters. Of course, they also have out in the behind the Chuck E. Cheese like establishment. They start off in the dumpster there. So I would assume that we see some, stuff like that. Like I said, kind of curious how they're going to pull off the whole Clownzilla thing because of the space. I am really curious to see how they do the cocoon room inside the spaceship. I think that on a much grander scale. Of course, we had a taste of it last year with the little props around the scare zone, but I think that on a much grander scale could actually look very cool. Lots of potential for scare actors to hide and things like that. If they do something where like one of the scare actors is kind of a real person in there, I think that'd be pretty cool. Kind of like a fake out thing. I don't know how they would do that. You put something maybe up, you put them up against a wall or something, almost like what they did with Scarecrow the Reaping, where you had the fake scarecrows inside the walls, and then of course one of them was real and they would come out. You could probably do something like that, I guess. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, so there is a video for this. It's kind of a bare bones video. It's got the popcorn and it talks about why people are afraid of clowns. Then it's got the little the bendy straw, the twisty straw thing, and the clown sucking the blood. out of the victim from one of their cotton candy cocoons. Again, kind of a bare bones video, kind of reminds me of the Universal Classic Monsters video, where it's just kind of like, oh, here's a couple little quick things that you might remember from the film. So yes, there's a video. Forgive me guys, I'm actually a little bit under the weather today, so I'm trying to get through this video. I actually have a day off to do a video, but I'm actually not feeling well. So there's that. But yeah, so with that being said, let's update the hype list. Now this might be a little controversial. So here is the current hype list, of course. Stranger Things is still sitting at, down there at number 6. For the time being, here's where Killer Klowns will sit on the list. I'm putting it at number 6. I struggled with this. Killer Klowns was actually below Stranger Things. I keep mentioning that something is going to overtake Stranger Things. There's still one or two things that might go under Stranger Things, but the reason why I'm putting Killer Klowns above Stranger Things at this point is because even though I like Stranger Things as a property better, I think Killer Klowns has a lot more potential to do different things, to be a little bit more unique. And there are things that I want to see them do more than, say, Stranger Things. I think Stranger Things is a little safe. I think we all know exactly what they're going to do in that house. Killer Klowns actually has more of a mystery for me to it. Even though I don't like the property as much as Stranger Things, Killer Klowns is just going to edge ever so slightly. Like I said, I struggled. I kept moving back up, back and forth. But for the time being, I'm putting Killer Klowns at number 6. And Stranger Things will continue to fall to number 7. Not that I'm not looking forward to Stranger Things. But like I said, there's one or two things that are coming, still coming, that could go below Stranger Things. In fact, there is. But we'll save that until it's officially announced. But anyway, guys, that is it for me. So Killer Klowns from Outer Space, we have 7 houses announced. So we have 3 more houses left to announce, plus all the scare zones. Those are still kind of up in the air. And show or shows, that is still also on the horizon. We are coming up to almost the month mark. Of course, August 6th will be 1 month before the event starts. So, and usually these things are all kind of announced by the last week of August. So they're quickly running out of time. And I think they realize that at this point, so they're kind of going to start rushing things out a little bit because they have to. it's crunch time at this point. So yeah, but that is it for me, guys. So Killer Klowns from Outer Space, that is coming. Like I said, apologies, I'm a little bit under the weather. So yeah, so just trying to get through this video a little bit. But yeah, so that is it for me. And I might be talking to you sooner rather than later if things hold. But we will see. But anyway, guys, that's it for me.